Thanks for coming to yoga class. Let's start out in an easy seat. Feel free to sit on your heels if you'd like, and then turn the palms of your hands so they face the ceiling. You can just let your hands rest in your lap or on your thighs. Try to relax your shoulders down away from your ears. Let your eyes close. Try to relax your jaw. Let's take 10 rounds of breath here. Lifting your chest as you breathe in. Letting your shoulders move a little bit farther down away from your ears as you breathe out. Three more rounds of breath. So now start to let your right ear drop down toward your right shoulder. And try to just move your head. Keep the rest of your body as still as you can so you feel a big stretch along the left side of your neck. And you can turn your chin a bit to change that stretch to make it feel good to you. Take one more round of breath here. Exhale it out, and then inhale your head back to center and start to take your other ear down toward your shoulder, just like this. Keeping your shoulders even and just allowing your neck to stretch as your head moves, and then maybe moving your chin if it feels good. Keep your arms nice and relaxed. And with your next in-breath, inhale your head back to center, and then let your chin come down toward your chest, just like this. So you feel a stretch in the back of your neck. Now bring your head back to center and just make some slow circles. Go in both directions. Just notice how your neck feels, how your back feels, your shoulders. You do it nice and slowly. And then bring your head back to center. Take your fingertips to your shoulders and circle your elbows around. These can be really big circles, or they can be smaller, tighter circles that maybe get a little bigger as your shoulders loosen up. Just like you did with your head, go in both directions. And try to keep your chest lifted so you're not slumping forward or arching up too much. And don't forget to breathe. You can change your seat at any time if you want to cross your ankles or sit in another way. Take a few more circles. And then inhale and take your arms up over your head. Grab your elbows with your hands and try to arch your back, kind of opening your chest up like this. Breathe in. As you breathe out, round your spine. Think about pulling your navel, your belly button back. Try to keep your ears lined up with your arms. And then start to move with your breath. So your inhale arches your back and opens your chest. Your exhale rounds your back, takes you into this sort of C shape. And just like that. Go as fast or as slow as you want. Find what feels good to you. All right, the next time you come up, you just stay lifted up here and start to reach one elbow to the side. And then come back to center and go to the other side. So try to keep the motion. We'll move from side to side with our breath. Keep the motion centered in your core, so it's just your waist that's bending from side to side. Your hips stay on the ground. You're not rocking up like that. You're actually using your muscles to create this side bend in your spine. If it feels better to reach your arms up, you can have your arms up here. You don't have to keep your elbows bent. Let's go once more to each side. As much control as you can, go as deeply as you can to one side, then to the other. And then come back, take a big inhale, arms up. As you exhale, twist to one side, taking the front arm across, the back hand behind you. Use your inhales to lift your chest, your exhales to go a little bit deeper into that twist. Your back hand, like we've talked about in most of our classes, can stay down, or you can lift that back hand up, maybe take it to your low back or reach around and grab your inner thigh. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. Try to go a little bit deeper into the twist each time you breathe out. And use an inhale to come back to center. Take both arms up. Use your exhale to power your way to a twist on the other side. Taking the front arm across, your back hand behind you. Give yourself a few breaths to deepen into the twist. Maybe walking the fingertips of that back hand back a little farther. And then maybe taking your hand up if it feels good. Maybe it feels good to keep it down for support. Just find what feels good in your body. 2 more deep rounds of breath here. Exhaling a little bit deeper, like you could move your rib cage farther toward that back elbow. Good. On your next inhale, come back to center. Sweep your arms up and then exhale, going to forward fold here. So take your hands down. You can walk your fingertips out. Try to line your ears up with your biceps, relax your neck. Come onto your fingertips, walk your fingers out as far as you can as you pull your hips back, keeping your back nice and long. Now slowly inhale and roll up. Pull your knees into your chest. So find a little balance here. We're going to rock back, pull the knees in, see if you can hold your shins or maybe even grab your elbows. Keep pulling your heels in, pulling your knees in, and try to keep your chest lifted. The more you lift your chest, the harder it is to balance. It might be easier if you take your hands out a little bit. It's harder than it looks. All right, so get as compact as you can, like you're a tiny little blossom, tiny little bud about to burst into a blossom. And then on an exhale, going to come into boat pose. So exhale, breathe out, extend your legs, open up your chest, and then inhale, pull your knees back in. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Good. Keep moving with your breath. Try to keep the balance, but another option here is to keep your hands down the whole time. Inhale to pull your knees in and round. Exhale to extend the legs. 2 more just like that. All right. After this last one, we're going to come onto our back. Pull the knees back into your chest. This time, just let it feel good. Rock around on your low back. You can make some circles. Just pulling the knees into the chest, sort of massaging your back with the floor. And then taking your arms out like goalposts or like a big T shape. Let your knees drop to one side. Take a few rounds of breath here. Just feeling that twist in the body. It should feel good. So we just did a lot of abdominal work to strengthen our cores. So on On an inhale, we'll come back to center. And as you exhale, let your knees drop to the other side. Just let them fall right on over. Let your arms just splay out. Let it feel good. You can straighten your arms and your legs out if you want to here, or you can keep your knees bent. Take 2 more deep rounds of breath. Exhaling into this twist. Since we're on our backs, we call this a supine twist. Let's come on back to center on an in-breath, and then as you exhale, cross your ankles, rock forward. All right, back to seated. So let's get up and move around a little bit now that we've stretched and twisted our way into a little bit more mobility. Start to walk your feet back. Come into downward facing dog, so the hands are planted right along with the shoulders, same distance. So don't have your hands way far out. You don't want them toe close together, just about shoulder distance. And then bend your knees as much as you need to allow your spine to lengthen out. Try to look back like you're looking at your navel. And then make whatever movements feel good to you here. You can bend your knees, kind of twist from one side to the other, pressing your chest to one side and then the other. Might feel good to bring one knee down and the other. You can also flip your feet over, so bring the tops of the feet down and then lowering the knees and then picking them back up so that you're stretching out the tops of your feet. It's kind of a weird sensation, but you might feel good. Take a few more rounds of breath here in down dog, just doing whatever feels good to you in this posture. Give yourself plenty of time to warm up. The backs of your thighs feel tight. Keep your knees bent. Give those muscles some time to get nice and warmed up. We've warmed up our core and our shoulders and stretched out a lot, but we haven't done a whole lot for our legs, so have some patience. And now let's start to come to the top of the mat. So we're gonna actually take our feet wide as we come forward. So when we come to the top of the mat, we're gonna have our feet wide, turn your toes in a little bit, and then take a big inhale, lengthen out your spine, try to look forward, like you're bringing your chest forward, pulling your hips back, just like we did in that forward fold earlier. Now with your next exhale breath, fold forward, bending your knees as much as you need to, and then walking your hands back. Another option here is to grab your ankles. You can either do it like this, or from the back like this. You can also grab your big toes with your first 2 fingers. See what feels good to you. I like to sway around a little bit here, especially when it's near the beginning of the practice. This will sort of allow you to get into your hips and your inner thighs a little bit more. So just like you did in down dog, make any movements that feel good to you. Keep your neck relaxed. I know I keep looking up so I can talk to you, and you're looking up so you can see me, and that's natural. But whenever you feel comfortable, let your head just hang heavy. And take your focus to those muscles in the backs of your thighs again, your hamstrings. You can take your hands and physically touch or palpate those muscles right in the backs of your thighs. And then bring your hands down, start to walk your feet in. So hip distance, you can measure hip distance by taking your fists, 2 fists right between your big toes will give you hip distance. And once you find your feet, hip distance, inhale, reach your chest forward, lengthen out your spine. As you exhale, forward fold. Now on an inhale, roll all the way up. Take your arms up, look up, lift the chest. As you exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. And we will start with our first sun salutation A. So Inhale, arms up. As you exhale, fold forward. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Inhale to reach the chest forward, lengthen out. As you exhale, plant your hands. You can step, or if you want to, you can hop your feet back. If you hop, you're going right in to your half plank. Inhale, come to the tops of your feet. Lift your chest. You can let the hips rest on the mat or on the floor for a moment. We'll stay here and breathe. So bend your elbows as much as you need to. If you're comfortable having the arms straight, maybe even lifting the hips off of the floor, you are welcome to be there as well. But as with all of these poses, know that you can be in all sorts of different places and still be doing the pose quote unquote right. So wherever you are here in upward facing dog, inhale, lift your chest even higher. As you exhale, curl your toes under, send your hips up and back to down dog. Take 3 deep rounds of breath here. Keep feeling your navel drawing back toward your spine. And keep trying to press your chest back toward your thighs. Now, at the base of your next exhale, bring your feet forward. You can walk or you can hop. If you hop, keep your weight in your hands. Use your core to pull your knees in, just like we did earlier. Bring the feet forward. Inhale to lengthen your spine. Reach the chest forward. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, roll up. Take your arms out and up. Exhale, fold out and over. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, step or hop back. If you hop, pull your knees in, bend your elbows as you send your feet back. Inhale to upward facing, pull the shoulders down and back, hug your elbows in. Exhale, hips up and back to downward facing dog. Take 3 rounds of breath. You can be still, or you can find some movement here, like we did earlier. Take another deep inhale at the base of your exhale. So after you breathe out, bring your feet forward. Maybe you walk, maybe you take a little hop. Inhale to lift the chest. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, roll all the way up. Arms out and up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Take a few rounds of breath here in Tadasana, or mountain pose. Try to press down through your feet. So feel your toes, the bottoms of your toes pressing down into the mat. Try to squeeze the mat with your toes. Feel your legs really strong here, really active. Engage those muscles in your thighs. And you can press your hands together, sending your shoulders down away from your ears. Take 1 more round of breath. Exhale completely, and then bringing the feet together so your big toes are touching. We'll inhale, bend the knees, sit the hips down low, take the arms up. You can have your hands wide like this, or you can have your hands together. Again, whatever feels best to you. Try to eliminate this arch in your back by rounding the spine and sort of aiming your tailbone down toward the backs of your heels. So you'll feel a little bit more engaged. This is fierce pose, also known as chair pose. The fierce pose, I think, is a better description because there's a lot going on. You're trying to make everything really tight, really strong. Try to bring the hips down even farther. 1 more breath in, and then fold over as you breathe out. Inhale to lengthen the spine. As you exhale, step or hop back, lower down. Inhale to lift the chest. Pull your shoulders back. Exhale, hips up and back into down dog. Now take your right foot up and back. Bend your knee. Let your hips just stack open. You can bend your other knee to the knee of your standing leg as much as you like. You might want to kind of be on the ball of that foot. You can kind of bounce around here. From here, step that foot forward between your hands. Spin your back heel down so you're lining up the heel of your front foot with the heel of your back foot. Start to come up, keeping that front knee bent. Try to close your hips. You may want to bring your back foot forward or take it out a little ways, as much as you need to. And then take your arms up for warrior one. Hands can be together, or you can have your hands nice and wide here. Try to look up. Feel yourself pressing down through your front foot, back through your back foot. So you're using the outer edge of that back foot to press into the mat and create more stability in this pose. So from here, we're going to sort of lose some of that stability and work on balance. Bring your hands together. Start to press into that front foot. Let the back foot float up. Warrior three. So you can always have your hands down here whenever you need, or maybe just one hand. Try to close the hips. So here my hips are open. If I drop that high hip down, you can even reach back and manually press your hip down and kind of turn my toes toward my standing leg. That hip will come down. It's a little bit easier to balance. Try to keep reaching your chest forward. You may even take your arms forward. And you can do other stuff here. You can always bend your knee, reach back, grab that foot with either hand. Don't be afraid to play around here and find some shapes that just feel good in your body. You can also work on balancing here. See what you can do without having any hands on the floor. It'll get easier over time. A lot of this is just stuff your body has to learn. So when you're ready, let's come out of warrior three. Step your left foot back. So we're going to come back into warrior one on an inhale. Bending the front knee, taking the arms up. As you exhale, reach forward, plant your hands, step your front foot back. We will move through a vinyasa, lowering down, inhaling to upward facing, and then exhaling back to downward facing. And then we'll take our left foot up and back. Bend that knee, let the hips stack open. Bend your right knee as much as you want to. Maybe bounce around on your right foot as you lift your left knee. And as we step this left foot forward, we're going to think about using our core and maybe falling out of the pose a little bit, but using our core to pull that knee in as we step the foot forward. Spin your back heel down, inhale your way up. And just take a moment here to find your breath. Try to find that front knee at about 90 degrees, your back leg straight and strong. Notice where your shoulders are. If they're trying to climb into your ears, relax your shoulders down away from your ears. Good. Now let's start to make our way into warrior three. Bring the hands together at the heart. Start to press down through that front foot, lifting the back leg, letting it float up. You can always let your hands come down here, maybe just one hand. And then take your time dropping that hip down, turning your toes toward your standing leg. Will make that hip come down a little farther. And then try to reach your chest forward like you're trying to create as much distance between your head and your toes as you possibly can. Maybe the arms come out. Maybe you find something to do with those hands, like try and grab your foot. See what kind of funky balance you can come up with here. And then eventually let your hands come down. Start to step back into warrior one, inhaling the arms up. And then as you exhale, lengthen forward. Plant your hands, step the front foot back. Move through your vinyasa. So that might mean doing the same thing we've done, lowering down, moving through upward facing. You can always just skip those and go straight to down dog whenever you want. So from here, start to let your knees come down to the mat. Sink your hips back toward your heels. Let your head rest down in child's pose. And just let yourself catch your breath. You can have your arms however you want. It may feel good to bend your elbows, or reach your arms back and let your shoulders just relax. And on an inhale, start to make your way up nice and slowly, like you're rolling up. Bring your knees together, and let's come into a squat. So curl your toes under, come onto the balls of the feet, let the knees come up, and then walk your hands back as your knees go nice and wide. Bring your hands together, pressing your palms together to send your elbows into your inner thighs. You can sort of walk your elbows down a little farther. Try to resist the urge to sort of round into this and see how high you can lift your chest and how straight you can keep your spine from your head to your tailbone. Good, good, good. All right, so from here, let's move into our arm balance. So crow pose, here we go. Plant your hands. Make sure, just like we talked about in down dog, the hands are the same distance as your shoulders. You've got a nice straight line from your shoulder down to your wrist. Let's start by taking the knees outside of the elbows or outside of the upper arms, as high as you can get them, ideally. Bring your hands back a little bit, and then as we rock forward, we're gonna bend the elbows and try to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the heels up. You can always have one foot down here. You can always stay right here and just play with rocking forward and rocking back. And rocking forward, maybe the feet come up, and rocking back. So just see where you're comfortable and stay there as long as you need to before you move on to the next step. If you want to go a little bit deeper here, first let's give our wrists a little love. Give your wrists some squeezes. And then take the backs of the hands together and just make some circles here. And this should feel nice on your wrist after all those down dogs and planks. All right, so if you're ready to go a little bit deeper into crow pose, we're going to take the knees onto the backs of the arms. So we're not coming at it from here, we're coming at it from here. We're sort of crouching into it. So hands shoulder distance, knees on the arms, just a little bit more balancing here. So you may want to start by just having one foot down, one foot up, and then taking the other foot up. When you're ready, try to squeeze your big toes together. And this is all core, kind of pulling everything in. So remember when we made that shape, when we were trying to pull everything in and be really tight, that's exactly what you're doing here. We're just doing it in an arm balance. So same idea, try to pull everything in and just play with it. Don't be afraid to fall. If you want to have a cushion or a pillow in front of you, this can help a lot. So this kind of gives you the freedom to fall without being scared that you're going to hurt yourself if you fall. So try it with a pillow, and then when you're ready, you can start to take the pillow away and just see what happens. So let's give our wrists a little more love. Flip the backs of your hands down, and we'll take the knee or knees, if you want to do both at the same time, into the palms. So you're sort of using the weight of your body coming down through your knees into that crease of your wrist and your palms to massage your wrists. And again, it should feel kind of painfully good. All right, so from here, come back onto your knees, give your wrist a few more little squeezes. And a few little shakes. And then bring the soles of the feet together. Try to open up your feet like a little book. Pull your big toes away from each other. Bring your pinky toes together. Take a big inhale. Lift your chest. And then as you exhale, come forward and just fold in. Let your head just hang. You can let the spine round. And then bring your arms out in front of you and just start to walk your hands from side to side. Nice and slow. Just feeling it out. Seeing what feels good to you. And eventually, when you're ready, come on back to center. Come back into the fold. Take a few rounds of breath here. And then let yourself roll up on an inhale. And then pull your knees together. Swing your feet around behind you. And come down onto your knees and your elbows. So allow your back to arch here. So you're kind of sticking your hips up in the air. And allow your chest to start to press back towards your thighs. Start to straighten your arms out. Come on to your fingertips. Let your chest sink down. So let your forehead rest down here. And if this feels like too much in your shoulders, you can bend the elbows and bring the hands together, reaching the thumbs toward the back. Just allowing the back and the shoulders to stretch out. It may feel good to press the palms away from each other, bring the fingertips together, or you may like having your palms together. And release, coming back onto the elbows and taking a few rounds of cat and cow here on the elbows. So inhale to lift the chest, exhale to round the spine. Same movement we've been doing in one way or another throughout this practice. You can have your toes curled under, or you can have the tops of your feet down. All right, so from here, let's come back to seated. And then let's come onto our backs. So now that we've warmed up our spines a lot, let's play with a little bit of back bending. So starting with the knees bent, bring the fingertips to the heels and just make sure you can touch your heels with your fingertips. If not, that means you need to walk your heels back a little further. Make sure your feet are hip distance, so not out here, not here, but hip distance. And then start to lift your hips off of the floor. So this is sort of our first stopping point. You can stop right here. It can feel really nice to bend the elbows and press them into the floor to help lift your hips. You can also take your hands and support your low back with your hands. Now some of you might be able to turn your fingertips so that your fingertips are toward your shoulders. Others are going to be like me and have to have your fingertips outside. Either way is fine. So don't let your knees splay out like this. Try to keep your knees pulling toward one another. So this is a lot of stretch across the front of the body, but it's a lot of strength too. Keep pressing down through your feet, forward through your knees, and up through your thighs. Remember, this is a heart opener. It's a back bend, which means it's a stretch for the front of the body. If you're comfortable here and you want to take it a step further, you're going to flip your palms so your fingertips are aimed at your heels. Your thumbs are in, your pinkies are out, and then without letting your elbows go out to the side, keeping your elbows in, you'll press into your hands to lift your chest. Stay here as long as you like. When you're ready, bend your knees, come down nice and slowly, and then pull your knees into your chest. With your arms around your legs, you can grab your elbows or grab your wrist and just circle around here, just like we did earlier. Kind of massaging your low back with the floor. Give yourself as much time as you'd like here. There's no rush. We will move into that supine twist from the very beginning of our practice. So, teeing the arms out or having your arms like a cactus or like a goalpost. Just let your knees drop to one side. Take a few rounds of breath here. See if you can slowly turn your head so you're looking in the opposite direction as your knees. If that feels like too much on your neck, you can always look straight up. Another option here is to straighten your legs out. Maybe take your outside hand and grab your top leg or your top knee. Wherever you are, take 2 more deep rounds of breath. Inhale your way back to center. Pull your knees in. Really use your core. And then exhale your knees to the other side. Just letting them drop over. Give yourself a breath or so to sort of get comfy here on the floor. And then if you want, maybe straighten your legs out. You can take your outside hand, maybe grab that top leg, whatever feels good. See if you can slowly, slowly look away from your knees. Slow, steady breaths. Take one more deep round of breath here. And then inhale your way to center. Pull your knees in. This time let the soles of your feet face the ceiling and grab your feet with your hands. Try to draw down or pull down on the outer edges of your feet with your hands. You can rock from side to side here in happy baby pose. Maybe you bring the soles of your feet together. You can also try straightening one leg at a time. Just as we've said over and over again, finding what feels right, what feels good in your body. That is the only one that matters. All right, when you're ready, let's come on back to stillness. Bring your knees in one more time. Take a big inhale. Try to pull your forehead up towards your knees, like you could touch your knees with your forehead. Maybe you can, I don't know. So you can grab your elbows, tight, tight, tight. One more deep inhale. And then exhale and just let it go. Slide your feet out. Let your feet drop open. Let your arms rest down by your sides with your palms facing the ceiling. Let your fingertips just kind of curl in toward your wrists. You can take one hand and scoop the back of your neck and the back of your head up. And lay your head down. And then just allow your eyes to close. Feel yourself nice and heavy. And just take a few long rounds of breath here. Breathing in, breathing out with breath. Try to empty your mind even for just this brief little period of time at the very end of your yoga practice. Relax your face, relax your shoulders. Feel your legs and your arms just heavy. Your whole body completely supported by the ground beneath you. Slowly, slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Circle your wrists and your ankles, going in both directions. And reach your arms overhead. Give yourself a nice long stretch from your toes to your fingertips. And then pulling your knees in, roll to one side, and just take a nice long breath there, letting your head be heavy. And cradle your head in your arms if you like. And just breathe here. Try to hang on to this feeling of heaviness and slowly use your arms to push yourself up. Let your shoulders relax down away from your ears. Let your palms once again face the ceiling. You can have your legs however you want them. And just allow your arms and your elbows to be heavy. Take a few rounds of breath here at the end of your practice. Now drawing your palms together. Relax the shoulders, press your palms together, press the base of your thumbs into your breastbone, that bony plate right there. And thank you all for joining me for yoga today. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Namaste, everybody.